Hi, I'm Lee. Welcome to the first of my knitting tutorials. We have our pretty basic tools that we need. 2 knitting needles. These are very small ones, as they are the first ones pretty much that I ever had. We have a DK yarn, which you can get from almost anywhere. This one is 100% acrylic. I prefer to use acrylic most of the time, simply because it is completely machine washable. And we also have a pair of scissors. I'm sorry that I can't pronounce the word scissors properly, but you're gonna have to bear with me. It's just part of my accent, I'm afraid. So if we put these to one side, we are going to start with a slip knot. So how we do that, we get the yarn and we make a loop. So long end over the short end, and then pull it under and through, and then pull on the short end and it tightens the knot. You can then pull the long end and it makes the loop smaller. Again, you can also make it bigger. Right, we are about to cast on. There are many ways that you can cast on. However, I'm going to show you the one that I use pretty much all the time. What we do first is put our needles into our slip knot and put the right one behind the left one. First thing we do now is wrap our yarn around the needle, the back needle, from back to front. And then if I pull this closer, actually this may be easier for you to see. So we have our loop with our yarn in there, and we pull it through, so it goes back through that needle, back through that loop, and we have a new loop here. We're going to put that onto the needle, and we're going to tighten. And then we insert our needle back into that loop, around, back through that stitch, and here's our next stitch, so we put it on. And you do that for as many stitches as is required. I am quickly going to do 10 for you, just so you can see how it is done, and that way we can get on to doing a base of knitting, which I'm going to show you how to do the garter stitch today. So just again around, back through for 4, and on, in, tighten, back around, through, and on. 6. I'm sorry if this is a bit slow and if I'm not close enough. Please forgive me, this is my first tutorial that I have ever done. So this can sometimes be tricky getting it through the needle. Yeah, especially this bit when you go through. So you don't want to tighten them too much, otherwise you can't get it back through that stitch. And then on. I'm going to stop for a second and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we just need one more. There we have our 10. And what we need now is to start. So all we do to start our knitting is slip the first stitch off. And then it's as simple as in, around, back through, just like when we were casting on, but this time we slide it off the needle. In, around, through, off. In, around, through, off. Always have to remember it's in from the front towards the back, and the yarn from the back to the front. In, around, through, off. In, around, through, off. As I was learning to knit, that was the easiest way that I could remember how to do it. And there we have our first row of knitting. Now, if I put my needle down, I can show you that on this side we have a side full of little lumps. Now on the other side there isn't anything at the moment, because every time you knit you bring one side has these little lumps on it. So we are going to do the garter stitch, which is pretty simple. It is quite literally just one knit in every single stitch for as many rows as you need. And in fact it ends up looking, don't mind the colours, just it looks like this. And on the other side it also has the bumps, as opposed to stocking stitch, which as you can see has a more traditional V on one side, and on the other side has the bumps. This is the wrong side and this is the right side. However, with garter stitch there often is no right side or wrong side. It's simply the side you like better. So we are going to knit our next row, and give my camera just a second to zoom to focus. There we go. Right, the first stitch is quite often the hardest on any row for beginner knitters, but you have to remember to keep your stitches close enough to the end so that you can actually get them off, but not so close like this, where as soon as you put your needle in that it's just gonna fall off and you're gonna lose that stitch. Right, so it's in, and this one you do need to tighten just a little bit just to make sure that your tension is okay. And off, in, around, back and off, in, around, through and off. And as you can see, as I'm knitting, I'm sliding my stitches up, and I'm invariably trying to use my finger to guide my stitches so they don't fall off my needle either. Bring it a little bit closer. In, around, through off. And you can see on this side we now have the bumps, whereas before it was pretty clean. And you can carry this for as many as you like, for as many rows as you like. You can make things such as full garter jumpers. You can make scarves, which are possibly the easiest thing you can make. When I was beginning to knit, I made a lot of scarves. Now, I'm going to pause this and I'm going to knit a few rows off camera and then come back and show you how to cast off.